edition of the Contractors' Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Justin Jones and Dave Negri.
And we are ready.
Rock and roll, we're ready, we're up and running. This is our first time podcasting with the video camera on us, and I can feel that red dot like piercing through me.
It's just staring at me. This is really weird. Okay, welcome to another episode of Contractors' Secret Weapon podcast, and we're starting a new format. See if we can put it on YouTube too. See how this goes. So today we're going to continue on basically the very beginning start of goals, setting goals for 2014. And last week we went into a little bit of why you want to do goals and certain things, but today, because this can really get into a real hairy thing.
It can keep going on
and on. We want to try to keep this as clean and simple for me, if you want, because I don't like doing things that are long and hard and tedious. I want it as simple as possible. So I think we're just going to take a look at overall. It's it's the end of the year. We're in December, and it's a good time. Everyone's mentally, I think, slowing down and going, oh God, I got to begin the first of the year, and we got to start this thing all over again. So how do we do that and make it more exciting, more interesting, instead of the same old humdrum stuff?
I totally agree with you, and we got into last week the fact that what have you done so far in 2014? And
right.
We started asking the questions. We shot the podcast. What have you done in 2014? What are you going to do differently? Are you tracking? So on and so forth. So kind of led us to where we're at now within the goals we're setting up now for 2015. Like Dave just said, we're in December. A couple more weeks, we're going to be done with this year, and then 2015's right there. The first part of any kind of goal setting is going to be reviewing your 2014.
Absolutely. I think that, if you are going to run forward, you need to know what you're running forward, but not away from. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you.
So I think that a good thing to start off with, and I know that this is probably going to be the most tedious thing, is to sit down and go through your revenues for last year, whatever they were. Do it up to now. You project out a little, pretty much what they're going to be till the end of the year. Take those, write them in a column, write down you should have your P&L statement, and write down what your net profitability was for the year, and look at that and say, am I happy with that? And if you are, great, then continue to do the same things you were last year, just now plan them out. If you're not, then it's time to change some things. And I think that if you write down your revenue, what you did for last year, and your net profitability, what you actually brought home after you paid yourself, now you can begin to actually figure out what are you going to do next year.
Yeah, from a financials goal standpoint, that's one of the best ways to do it. We talked a little bit about the SMART goals, the specific, measurable, actionable, reachable, and time-sensitive time aspect. You can do that on your financial aspect as well, where you break it down into your quarterly or however you end up filing. Whenever we talk about financials, it kind of makes you kind of move a little bit funny, unless you're like me or Dave, where I can just go back to my computer, I click a couple buttons, and boom, out it pops, because I keep track of that stuff. That's how I create my budgets. That's how I job costs and everything else.
Well,
so it's not that difficult.
No, and really once you start doing it and it becomes a habit, it's really the heartbeat to your business to know exactly where you are, so that you can move forward. Or in the event that things are slowing down and you see that, then you can back off a little on certain things. So it's really the heartbeat. So write them down. Write that down. Write down your net profitability for the year. And now put down 215. Where do you want to go? Do you want to figure out whatever percent for now. Just let's do it simple. How much do you want to grow next year? Let's just do it the simple way. How much do you want to grow? Put that number down. Now you've got something to go to. You've got something. Where have you been, and where do you want to go? And if it's, I'm trying to say this nicely, just if you're going to go for 10%, go for 15, go for 20. I mean, what's 10%? You know, you just go for it. Just write it down, go for it. Figure out how many. Now you've got how many estimates you did. Write down those. Write down how many closed deals you did. Write down your. I would write down my average cost of goods sold. So if my average ticket sale. So if it's like if it was a painting job, it could be $4,000. If it's a plumbing repair, it could be $150. It really doesn't matter as long as you've got a number there to see how many of those you have to do next year to get you to your end game.
Yeah, so from the financial aspect, if you can follow along with everything that we're talking about there. If not, we're just going to put a link on this podcast to where you can go and download the sheet, and it'll kind of be almost fill in the blank.
Yeah.
We have those available. We're going to put those up there because we're creating right now the game plan for 2015. Want to go into also when you're reviewing 2014, Dave's touched on the financials aspect. Let's touch on the missed opportunities. When you're tracking your sales and you're going through and you're making the calls and you're visiting the people and you're going through and you're figuring out, okay, this is closed business, this one, you know, maybe fell through, they moved away or whatever. Take a look at your missed opportunities as well, because when I go through and I look at my missed opportunities, a lot of times that it glares at me like, maybe I'm targeting the wrong customer, or maybe I need to go back to my referral source and kind of educate them a little bit more on the kind of referrals that I'm looking for. So look from an opportunity of missed opportunities, and that's just a matter of going through your calendar and going, okay, you know what, I didn't close that business. Maybe I didn't even want that business. Maybe the price point was too low. Or, you know, maybe I wanted that high-end client and I didn't get the high-end job, but I wanted it. Well, why did you miss it? What was the opportunities? So again, you can, if you're following up with your customers, like we preach the gospel, if you're following up with them, you're going to be able to get that feedback from them. You'll be able to have those notes there, and you can see, okay, well, where did I miss out on some opportunities? Or maybe even a geographic area. You know, like myself, I don't like going further than Pinellas County. However, a lot of the clients who are calling in from South Tampa, and I'm going, maybe there might be an opportunity there. So then I start looking at my boundaries. I start looking what's my profitability, is what's going to change when I go after this new opportunity. So that's something that you want to look at from 2014 also.
When you travel, you got to figure that cost in. You can't do, like, I can't pay for the same square footage as I do here than I would in South Tampa.
Absolutely.
Of course, I don't go to South Tampa, but a lot of times I'll just tell people, you know, because I've had people that have moved to South Tampa, so will you come and paint for them? And I go, you know, I would really like to, however, for me to get across and go down there and travel, it would definitely be cheaper for you to get someone in that area.
Yeah, find a local person. Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit further on down, because what we're going to be going into is going to be a SWOT analysis, and that's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. When we first start in the business, we go over the SWOT, but a lot of times we don't ever revisit it, and it's one of those where, again, it's missed opportunities. You're going to be able to go through and take a look at that for your overall company. But take a look at those missed opportunities. The other thing is we're going to go into marketing. Me and Dave are passionate about marketing. That's why we do the podcast. What are you missing out on your marketing? Do you have your 10 by 10s? Are you doing your follow-up thank you cards? Going to take a look at those line items. Are you following through on all the marketing? Or, you know, could you be putting a newsletter in there? What are your clients looking for? And that's one of those things that's going to be, you know, what you do in 2014? What can you do in 2015 to make it better?
Right. I think now would be a great time while you're sitting down and you're going through your numbers and stuff to redefine who your perfect client is, because you're going to take that into consideration when you put together your marketing goals later on. And you can tell, especially if you go through your, like now, I like to go through in each job, I like to do performance on it, on how much was it profitable, was it, what percentage of profit, net profit, gross profit, so that I know that, all right, I want to know, did I do everything right that I could have done? What did I do wrong? Because nothing ever flows perfectly. I mean, because what's his name works at my place too.
He works at everybody's place. Is that Maslow's law?
I don't know, but
what is
yeah,
it? Wasn't it?
I know that guy follows me around.
Scratching my head. The
yeah,
law.
I lost it.
Murphy.
That's yeah,
it.
It's okay.
That's
Murphy.
It.
He follows me. Sometimes he's worked for me for a whole straight week.
He's called Maslow at my company. We don't call him Murphy. There's too many Murphys.
Yeah, but no, really, you're defining who your absolute target is, and now when you go through your revenue goals based on your average, dollar sale, you can actually move your dollar sale up if you're redefining your target market, because you're going to move that person up in dollar value. I know there's, it's just crazy sometimes where we just go to, we say, well, we're going to do it next year, same price this year, but gas went up, insurance went up, and, so you can't do that.
It doesn't make any sense, but again, if you're tracking all that stuff, you're going to know. A lot of the companies, you'll see them, they're still at the same price point they were at 5, 6, 7 years ago. They don't take any of that into account because that's the way that they did it before. It was making money for them back then. So again, there's a lot of opportunities in that, whereas other contractors just aren't going to take a look at it. The biggest part of when you go over your 2014 goals is going to be, what did you accomplish? What goals did you set out for? What goals did you hit? Because that's where you're going to get the pat on the back. That's where it's going to be, okay, this stuff really does work. And it's interesting, in my networking meeting, we have a gentleman in there who worked for Procter & Gamble. He worked for Procter & Gamble until he retired, and he started working with small businesses because he didn't like the way that a lot of the larger companies treated smaller business. So he went and said, you know what, I was a corporate guy. I had to go and work in the trenches with small business, and it happened to be that he was in the supermarket business. But he got to sit there and he got to run the registers for those hometown small mom and pop grocery stores. And he sat there and he saw all that stuff. But Procter & Gamble still made all their people go through and create goals and personal goals. And they went through and they reviewed all that stuff because they wanted to see where their employees were at, to see if they could help them meet their goals, but also help them with the accountability aspect of it. So I think if a $1 billion company is doing it, I think it's one of those things that we should take a look at it. And there's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that go through and do this. But what they focus on first is they focus on the accomplishments. What goals did you set out for? What goals did you hit? Because that's how they forecast for 2015. A lot of us contractors, we don't really concentrate on the forecasting for 2015, but you got to know your accomplishments from 2014 to be able to hit them, the forecast in 2015. Am I getting confused with my years? 2014?
I don't know. It just, I think one of the most important thing about goals is to let you know where you've come from. Can you go back and say, yeah, I did great. I hit that. I did that one good. Oh, well, I didn't quite hit that goal, but we got real close. What can we do next year to make it better? And a lot of things that we talk about is reviewing the past so the present will be better, or the future will be better. So, I mean, that's just, I know it's hard work and it's a pain in the neck because we as contractors, I know, and I say it all the time because it happens to me. You get in the mix, you start working doing this and this, and then before you know it, it's Friday, the week's over, and you don't even know what you did. Except you worked all week. You put in your 40 or 50 or 60 hours, and you're going, golly, what happened? So the nice part about tracking everything is you know exactly what you did, when you did it, hopefully why you did it, and then you can say, good, now let's go into next week or next month or for the quarter, and let's track that so that we know exactly. And then you can pat yourself on the back and say, hey, you did a great job. You exceeded your goal, because there's nothing worse than working your butt off all the time and feeling like you got nothing accomplished because you got a grumpy customer who just in your face and everything goes to crap.
Wears you down.
Yeah, it just wears you down. So you need to look back, be able to look at things and say, I did good there, I did good there, I did good there. And if you get one bad customer out of 100, don't beat yourself up. You know, when we have that tendency, what could I have done better? Absolutely nothing. He was grumpy, he was complaining. I'm sure that there was something maybe you could have done, but I always chalk off to at least 2 a year that I can't make happy no matter what I do, and I live with it.
You're good with that.
I'm good with that.
That's pretty good though. If you do all the jobs you do and you only have 2, that you're just like,
Yeah, and
That's pretty good.
I apologize. I'll send them cookies or whatever and say I'm sorry that things didn't work out the way you expected. I apologize, but you know, in the end, it is what it is, and I tried, and I can't do any better.
here's your cookies.
Yep, I've done brownies too.
Those are good brownies.
I
by the
know
way.
they are.
All right, you were able to articulate that real good, but that pretty much covers the review aspect for 2014 before you even get into 2015. So, Dave, you want to kick off 2015?
2015. Okay, you're sitting in front of a coffee, 2 pieces of paper or 2 columns. You got 2014. You've just written down everything we just talked about, and now you're putting down 2015. Where do I want to go from here? And it's just simple math, really. When you really break it down, it's simple math. Where do I want to be? What's my revenue? Okay, what was my gross profit? And that's a little more in detail, but you know, you can play with that too. Sometimes it's easier to play with your margins, your gross profit, your net profit, than it is to get new business.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because you're not spending money on marketing per se, because you've got this, you know, you've got this amount of, if you don't do anything next year in a lot of business, you know you're going to do something. So raise your prices a little, 10%. Just go 10% to start off with. And you'd be surprised on how much more profit you'll make. Once all the numbers come together, it's just mind-boggling. It's not addition, it becomes multiplication.
It's simple. Once you create it, it's there. It doesn't take a whole lot of maintenance. I go through once a month or every 45 days, I'll just take a brief look at it, make sure I'm staying in line. Once you've got that part done, let's go into the mission and the vision for 2015. Do you have one of those? Is it going to stay consistent from 2014 into 2015? Maybe it's changing up a little bit. Maybe the mission is going to go from, you know what, I want to go after, 100 new clients, this year. Or maybe it might say, you know what, my mission is going to be to, let's take care of the existing customers that I have even more. Let's stay in contact with them even more. My mission this year is going to be to go through, I'm not looking to necessarily grow with new clients, but I'm looking to expand with the existing clientele that I have. So I'm working in those locations, those areas, those geographies that I want to. My goal is to expand based on the relationships that I have already. So again, I want to take care of them. That's a big part of my mission.
So you're not going after new business. You're going to cultivate your existing clients to have them be your salesman.
I've got a farm.
Yeah.
We talk about the farm all the time. I've created the farm in the geographic location that I want. My mission is to make that farm as profitable as I can, and it's a whole lot easier working with your existing clients and making sure you're taking care of them and having them out there praising you and preaching the gospel about you than it is trying to create a new relationship, a new meeting, and so on and so forth. So that's one of my missions. Dave, what do you got mission-wise for 2015?
Really to be more profitable, to take my existing clients and figure out how to do, to get them, in a sense, to be my salesman. Instead of, and I would rather pay them in the form of referral rewards, thank you, go out to dinner, whatever, as opposed to just blindly putting in an ad in a magazine or EDDM postcard, because I know that my closing ratio is much higher.
Sure.
So, you have to figure out, and this is kind of important too, what your cost per customer is. And what would you be willing to spend on a customer to get one that's going to be your, let's say, whatever your lifetime value is over the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll do business with people over the next 5 years. Even when I am painting houses, I do consistent business with those clients over at least 5 years. Some have been 20 years, some have been 25 years. And so I know what my cost is and what I'm willing to spend to get a customer like that. So I was on a call Saturday, and was a high-end guy that's selling coaching, we were talking about, and the guy cost per customer was $1,200. However, he would gladly pay and give away the $1,200 because his average sale was $5,000. So he spent $120,000 in order to get leads to make $750,000. Now, I would do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
So, and just take zeros away. In this case, let's just take zeros away. Would you spend $120 to get a $720 customer? All day long.
Makes sense to me. Was it 7 to 1 or 6 to 1?
Yeah.
Right around 6 to 1.
Yeah, so that's a good return on your investment. So think in those terms. Don't think that, I don't want to spend 49 cents for a postcard to get a $500 job. That just doesn't compute. I'm sorry.
So your mission
is to make more
you
dollars.
You get off on the pig. Me and him both get off on these pig trails.
One of my missions is to just refine what I'm doing, make it more profitable, so I can do less work and make more money.
Okay. I'm going to make that one of my missions too.
Yeah, I mean,
you can have multiple missions. There's no right or wrong to this. When you're looking at these missions, once you create them, the other part that you have to ask yourself is, does that fall in line with my vision as well?
Right, what do I want to do?
Mission and vision sometimes gets a little confusing there. So the vision is going to be, does it fall in line with what is close to you and your ethics and your beliefs and what you know at your core? That would be a perfect vision for you. So again, if you're going after this more profitable customers and you're cultivating them, does that fall in line with the vision as well? Well, absolutely it does, because you're taking care, at my core, I want to take care of my clients. I want to make sure that all their needs are met. I want to make sure I'm doing the job to my best of the ability. And at the same time, I want to get paid as much as I can for that and be extremely profitable. It falls in line to me.
Yeah,
I really don't see too many different...
I think when you're setting your goals, don't just throw them out there and say, well, I want to be the largest electrician in my area. Because I have someone that said that in a different area, and I go, well, who's the largest now? And they go, well, how many trucks do they have? They got like 65 trucks. I said, great, how many you got? 2. Well, have you made a plan to get to the 65? Because it's going to take more than 5 years. Well, no, I haven't. I just want to be. You know, you can't,
I want it now.
You just can't want to be. You gotta figure out a plan. Now, there's quicker ways to get there. And I know a guy did it with an air conditioning company in 2 years. He just bought all the little ones up around him.
That was the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the way to go. So, but again, what the air conditioning guy did was he looked at the opportunities. And he said, you know what, can I grow my business organically? And that's the way that a lot of us do it. Year by year, you're adding on new clients, you're servicing those clients, and you're adding on, and it's a very organic trend for you. Or can you go and say, you know what, this XYZ mom and pop, make them an offer, send out postcards. I got a postcard in the mail the other day of a plumber looking to buy me out, because I have a plumbing license, so they send them out. But a plumber who's looking to buy me out.
Awesome. Same thing. Same principle.
Same principle.
It's because what you're basically doing is you're not buying a business at that point. You're buying customers. And that's the lifeblood of your business is customers. So if you can buy a good customer base from another company in your same niche, or not even if you want to move into a niche, I think the smartest thing to do is buy it instead of starting it. It makes it so much easier in the end.
The phone's ringing already. So.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of gets into some examples of mission and vision. We'll go into it a little bit more as we're setting up our goals. Your unique selling proposition, your USP. We've shot entire podcasts on the USP / your target market.
Right.
So let's go into the USP first, because as we're setting up for 2015, we're going to start defining that client. That client might have changed from 2014 to 2015, but you would never know unless you sat there and you figured out, okay, so, what's going on here. One of the trends that I'm starting to see is that middle class family. They're starting to go one of two ways, where that middle class is starting to go higher end, or that middle class is starting to go lower. I'm starting to see a shrinking and a dwindling middle
And it has
class.
to do with the age group too, because your millennials are going to the higher end because they want a little bit better.
Yeah.
And your older are shrinking because they're getting older. They don't have as much discretionary income as they did once before, so they're tightening up on the other end. So a lot of it has to do with age. So when you're there again defining your target market, look at the ages, and neither one is good or bad. It all depends on what you want to go after.
What's going to be the uniqueness that you're using to captivate those customers? And that's what you're going to have to go after, because for me, when we're shooting the podcast and we're going over this for the past year, I'm looking at these trends and I'm going, you know what, Dave, this doesn't really make any sense. I want to go after the more higher end. And now the marketing that we're doing for 2015 is going to go after even the super high end. That the client might be from overseas or might be from out of town who's starting to buy in this area, and they're getting it for what they think is pennies on the dollar, because we're a little bit our house value is a little bit lower here than it is up north.
And here's an interesting thing that I found out that I absolutely love. And when I get people that are from out of state through another realtor, I'm normally high to begin with. And I don't go any higher because I know these people are from out of state, but my prices are normally high to begin with. But they're low to them because you've come from New York and New Jersey, and even my high price is low up there.
Yes.
Yeah,
you are. They've got the unions and everything else.
So
that they do.
a lot of it has to do now. Okay, do you want to market to out of towners or people who are non-owner? I call them non-owner occupied. They're residents that.
Some of the best customers I have, by the way, are non-owner occupied. And real quick story on how we ended up getting into that. We just targeted the realtors who were targeting those clients, because when those clients call the realtor looking for property, the next thing that they're going to ask is, oh, by the way, do you know a contractor who can come in and fix this place up for me if we find one that needs work? Oh, yeah, by the way. So again, that was real easy to get into that business, and it's been extremely profitable. I can't even begin to tell you, but it's one of those where that's always going to be in that part of my business. It's always going to be
because it's and they're happy because you're there again. It's a referral. You're working off the trust of the person that referred you, and it's really a nice little niche. It really is. So just think about where you might want to go to in addition to what you're already doing to make yourself more profitable. And if I'm going to say this, don't jump in with both feet. slowly transition over if you're dealing with the low end of stuff and you want to move into the higher. It would be nice to be able to jump out, but it's not really feasible. I don't think it is.
I totally understand where you're going.
Yeah, because
you jump in.
you're not going to do it because you're afraid anyway.
No.
So do it the best way you can in the fastest amount of time. Let's put it that way.
So the last part of defining success for 2015, it somewhat piggybacks on what we talked about last week. What does success look like to you? If we're in a group of 100 contractors and I say, what does success look like to you? Not one person will have the exact same answer other than the fact that I want to make more money.
Right.
Or I want to, something just generic that comes off the top of your head. But when you really think about, well, why do you want to make more money? It's not just because I want to make more money. Well, why do you want to make more money? Well, I'm going to take my money and, I'm going to go buy a boat. Okay, well, why are you buying a boat? You're going boating by yourself? You're going boating with your family, your friends? Yeah, I want to go, so it really... dig down deep and ask yourself, what does success look like to me? And that piggybacks on what we talked about last week, but that also kind of helps set up your defining success for 2015, which flows right into everything that we just talked about with the mission, the vision, and the goals, and so on and so forth. Because if your idea of success is, I want to spend as much time with my family as possible, well, then you're going to have to make sure that your vision and your mission and your goals all fall in line with that as well. So again, Dave, you got anything else to say on that? Or?
The only thing that I can say on that is, did you create your business to enhance your lifestyle, or is your business your lifestyle?
Oh man, that digs deep.
You just really, because, listen, I'm getting old, so I am cutting back. I'm trying to do the least amount I can do. I'm trying to work smarter instead of harder. Okay, I know that I got to work, so I'm going to enjoy things on the full spectrum.
Sure.
Instead of working my butt off. I can hopefully find people that want to work their butts off and make good money. And I don't mind paying people what they're worth and paying them bonuses. I just don't. That's because it's beneficial for everybody. So that's it for the overview of the goals, how to set them up, what to do. You got your two befores and where you're going. If you're struggling with how to get into the more profitable markets, the higher end homes, I think we wrote a book about that, didn't we?
I think we did.
And it's for sale on our website.
It's
actually called, I got a copy of it here, right here. It's called 11 Secrets to Getting into Lucrative High-End Homes and Communities. Inside, you'll discover how to crack the code of getting inside the lucrative high-end homes by using targeted lists, higher prices. Oh, how about higher prices? Can you really get better business with higher prices?
Raise them.
Raise them. And guarantees. So, with that said, go to our website, check that out, buy it. We are including a bonus workbook included with it. We'll probably take that off the first of the year, and then whoever gets it ahead of time gets that, and we may sell it, the bonus workbook, later. Who knows? Have a great week, and hope this works out on YouTube. We'll find out.